are in autumn. Here we are heading into the descent of the Dark Mother. Here we are entering the season of the dying, when the seasons change, when the leaves drop off and we head into the descent. But so we're talking about going into death, going into the autumn, and autumn leads into the crone. If you see behind me, it's my goddess vibes there, Maiden Mother Crone, and we finished the harvest season. Mabon is the pagan word for the equinox, and that's the final celebration and gathering together, the final gathering of the harvest as you prepare to go into the dark, into the descent. And while we love winter, and I love winter because I like the pagan holiday that people call Christmas, it's also a reminder of the mysteries of death. And that is what the Crone Mother brings to us, is the mysteries of death. And as I head into that stage of life, as I head closer to 50 and then beyond, I'm beginning to feel a little bit more of the wisdom of that unknown, and also the fear of the unknown. And I talk about fear a lot, but I want to talk about that a little bit. So I've been feeling very angry the past few weeks. I'm sure the retrogrades in Mars and all that's got something to do with it, but also it's a bit of a purging. And so I've had to sit with the anger because I normally don't do that, partly because as a woman I wasn't taught to sit with my anger. That's something that is for men to do. I wasn't taught how to express it. And so I'm sorry, I'm shaking up now. This is my celery, my probiotic, and my chlorophyll. So I had to sit with this anger. One of my teachers, Perry Chase, asked me to sit with my anger, so I did. And then I did some free writing around it. It doesn't taste as bad as you think, And then I did some free writing around it, and I thought at first that I was angry at men, right? Because as women, that's like our go-to. If we're angry at something, usually it's a man. A man done did us wrong. A man done left us. A man didn't love us enough. Our anger tends to be because some dude did something to us, or some close friend, but usually it's a dude, right? And I realized that my anger was not about the men, because the men were all of them wonderful. They really were. All taught me something about myself, and what I had to own and realize is that I didn't want to be responsible. I didn't want to do the work. And I've talked about this before. I thought I was unaffected by the Disney characters, but I shit you not, I fell into this idea that a man was supposed to save me. Like he was supposed to come along and rescue me from my life, and he was supposed to come along and take care of me, and I wasn't supposed to have to do shit. I didn't want to own my power. I really just wanted him to do stuff, and I just didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to grow, I didn't have to change, I could just be me, whatever that was, and he could do all the work, right? So that was what I was really angry about. I was angry at me, because I had to do the work. And it's like, fuck. All this time, I've really been responsible for my life, but I was leaving that responsibility to someone else who it wasn't their job, right? And so that, and this is, I always reach levels of this, right? There's always levels to this shit. I tell my clients all the time, it's like the toilet bowl effect. Like you start out here, you realize it, you go deeper, you realize it, you go deeper, you realize it, you go deeper, you realize it, right? So it's not like this is a new realization. It's just a realization on a deeper level, because I've had to really excavate this anger and look at it. Well, here's the thing. What the anger did for me, and what I noticed with it, was that it felt good. It felt good to feel the power of that. Within anger, there's this feeling of lust and passion. It's like, to me, anger feels like a swollen vulva that's ready to receive. Who the fuck else can make a compare anger to a swollen vulva. But seriously, to me, it began to feel like this, like I began to think of like lava chocolate cake and lava and how beautiful that is when it's spewing out, right? When it's just erupting and flowing. And what happens after the lava flows? What happens when it cools off, and what grows from that? Hawaii is an example of what grows from lava. The whole South Pacific is what happens when the eruption takes place and it spills out everywhere. That fire, that passion, the fury of it, and how that can be transmuted and turned into something not only extremely powerful, but something beautiful in which something can grow out of that. And so that's what my anger has been doing for me. Now, how does this tie into the Dark Mother, she who takes us into the descent? Because especially as women, that's what needs to happen. We want to live on the surface as women. We want to just, no. The Dark Mother asks us to descend into the other world, into the underworld. So how does this tie into the unknown? So that's the fear of death. This society fears death. It wants to hold on to youth and innocence, and in some ways foolishness, because when you're young you just don't know any better. We herald the youth, we shun that which begins to age and has wisdom. We fear the process of heading toward a place that we don't know and cannot control. Our ego does not like that. So it wants to hold on to the frivolity of youth. It wants to hold on to that. And the energy of it is not the problem. I am constantly in youthful energy, but I am beginning to understand the importance of the responsibility of my power. Now, this means shedding certain aspects of who I thought I was. Because we all have stories about who we think we are. And so because we think we're this person, we are in this box and therefore cannot move into something else. The dying season tells us that just like the tree shed its leaves, it is sometimes time for us to shed stories about who we think we are, what we think we deserve, what we think we're worth. And let that shit go. So if you think you're someone who is always broke and poor and sick and introverted and shy and things just don't work out for you and all of this other stuff that you all know, right? None of y'all who are following me, it's not new to you. That's the story you're living. And we want to live a different story, but see the in-between space between the story that you think you are and the story you want, that in-between space, that's the death and dying. That's the death and dying space that everyone wants to avoid. What we really want to do is sit in happy meditation and come out of it and be like, ta-da, my instant new self. We don't want to die unto the self, as one says in the Bible. We want to remain who we are and have the changes miraculously happen. That's not how it works. The process is sometimes often painful, uncomfortable, causes us to squirm a little bit. But it's necessary. You cannot reach the version of you that you sit and imagine when your life isn't working. Don't. I know, because I've done it. You cannot reach that version of you that you sit and imagine when life is not working without dying. You're going to have to really, and it's so funny, I was just wrapping up listening to an audio from M. Rain, and it was like, we're a little bit on the same wavelength, and some of the things that she was saying. You have to let shit go. Sometimes it's people. Oftentimes it's people. Some of y'all, by the way, are caught up in thinking someone is your twin flame when it's really just like a toxic relationship. I just feel like I had to put that out there. You think you met your soulmate because you just can't extract yourself from this person, so they must be the one for you. Because, this is mostly for the ladies, because you feel like you're so attached to them that you can't let them go. It's toxic, sweets. That's not a twin flame. Okay, I just want to put that out there. But in order for us to reach that version, we're going to have to die. So I'm thinking about this for myself as the weather gets colder. And what do I want to release? What do I want to let go of during this season as we head into the dark? This is the womb space that we're going into right now. So everything, nothing comes into this realm unless through the feminine. Nothing. The seasons, nothing. We are going into the dark, into the womb space. What are you gonna birth out in the spring? What do you want to birth out? What do you want to be happening as the sun begins to come back? How far deep are you willing to go to excavate the shit that actually truly no longer serves you? How tired are you of staying on the same fucking circle? And why have you not done what you need to do to get off it? And that's the fear. It's the fear of dying. Who will I be without this identity? I will lose X, Y, and Z. This is how it's been. But yet, the inner yearning is calling you. And here's the thing. If you choose to ignore that, for those of you who are aware and you can feel it, if you choose to ignore that inner calling, it doesn't get better. Like life will like knock you in the head continuously, harder each time, until it's like, oh yeah, I gotta make these changes. So there's this fear of death that we have. There's a fear of dying physically, spiritually, and there's not a teacher who's come here who hasn't had to go through that. The reason why I know that this is part of what I need to do, and that there's death that needs to happen, is that for the past week, I have been crying, shedding tears over the passing of my ex-husband. I thought that I'd kind of grieved, but I hadn't, right? And there were aspects of me attached to that also had to be let go. And there was so much grief involved in that. I had taken on the role of wife. That role was now dead. I had taken on the role of mommy. I'm phasing out of that role. I mean, I'm always going to be a mother. But there's a difference between being a mother and being mommy, ladies. Yeah, there's a difference between being a father and being daddy. And as my youngest is now 15, I'm phasing out of that stage of life. There are parts of my life that are dying. And there's often a lack of acceptance with that. There's a lack of acceptance with death. It shouldn't have to happen. It shouldn't be this way. No one should die, because I don't want to feel the pain of that death, physically, spiritually, whatever it is. I don't want to feel the pain of it And so because I have this idea in my mind that being in this human existence means I should somehow not feel any pain, I am resistant to the idea of death of any form. When you signed on, this is my personal belief, when you signed on to inhabit your body, you didn't sign on for joy, pump it up, and, okay? The song is not joy and sunshine. No. It's joy and pain. You signed on for that. It's part of the journey. And we all go through cycles. We all go through cycles of death and rebirth, much like we're now in the cycle of the dying. And if we flow with the seasons, we will actually find that whole cycle easier. So, here we are in the cycle of the dying. Well, for those of us in the Northeast, obviously, if you're in the South, it might look a little different, but still the seasons still do change. Something changes, right? It's, it might be 90 degrees and now it's down to like 65. We're now in the cycle of death. What can you begin to let go of? What skin can you shed so that you can step into the version of you that you imagine when your life doesn't feel like it's going well? Right? Where can you step into your responsibility? Where can you own your life? First of all, you can own it everywhere. Where can you own that so that you're not looking outward, looking for, well, if the rest of the world gets fixed, then I'll be okay? What can the lessons of death and dying teach you? What can you shed and let go of during this season? What are the lessons that the Dark Mother, the crone, has for you? There's wisdom in death, and the understanding that death is not an end. It is never an end. Ask my ex-husband, because that man, we were chilling, talking in a dream 2 nights ago. I mean, I shit you not. If I say, hey, come talk to me, that night we're having a conversation. Death is never an end. It is always a new beginning of something else. And so that means that there's nothing to fear in death. Allow this descent into the dark, considering all that 2020 has wrought, all that it has brought into your existence, considering all the clear vision it has given you. Take that with you into this descent. Don't get caught up in the hype of what is going on in the world. Don't be the puppet in everything that's happening. Really go within you. See what needs to be let go of. And if you're angry, feel it and allow it to erupt and flow all over you like lava. Feel into it and allow your anger and your rage to fuel something new and something beautiful. Allow your anger to be a fuel for you. Do not fear death. And allow the lessons of the Dark Mother and the crone this season especially to grant you newer wisdom and newer eyes to see, so that you might have clearer vision when we step into 2021. I love you all. Thank you for watching. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.